All right, let's get right into it. Ever wondered what really makes a plant different from an animal? I mean, at the most basic level? Well, the whole secret, the entire story, is hidden away in their tiny building blocks, the cells.
So, here they are, our two main characters, if you will, the animal cell and the plant cell. And looking at them side by side, they seem pretty similar, don't they? You can spot a nucleus, some cytoplasm, a lot of the same basic kit. But trust me, the small differences, they change everything.
And that's the bit that gets me. It's just mind-boggling, isn't it? One of these little blobs of jelly can build a lion, something that hunts and runs. The other? It builds a massive oak tree, standing strong for hundreds of years. So how? What's the fundamental design tweak that sends them down such completely different paths?
Okay, so before we get into what makes them unique, let's look at what they have in common. It's always good to start there, right? Both of these cells belong to the same club, the eukaryotes. It's a fancy word, but all it really means is that their important bits are properly organized inside membranes. Think of it as the basic, standard-issue toolkit that all complex life gets to start with.
Right. First piece of shared kit, the nucleus. This is the boss, the head office. It's got the DNA, which is the master blueprint for everything, and it's calling all the shots. What the cell does, when it divides, how it grows. Take that away, and the whole operation is clueless.
And where does all this happen? Well, all the organelles, all that machinery, is floating around in this gooey, jelly-like stuff called the cytoplasm. And it's not just some packing material. Oh no, it's the factory floor itself, absolutely buzzing with all the chemical reactions that keep the cell alive. Then you've got the cell membrane wrapping around the whole thing. Think of it like a very, very strict bouncer at a club. It's the gatekeeper, deciding precisely what gets in and what gets kicked out. It's absolutely crucial for keeping things inside nice and stable. But what's powering this whole miniature city? That would be the mitochondria. These things are legendary. They're the power plants, the engines of the cell. They take food and turn it into pure usable energy. Simple as that. No mitochondria, the lights go out. And last but not least in our shared toolbox are the ribosomes. These are the tiny construction crews. They get their orders straight from the nucleus, from the DNA, and they just get to work building all the proteins that do all the jobs. So there you have it. That's the core machinery, the foundation that both animals and plants are built on. Okay, we've seen the common ground. Now for the fun part. This is where things get really clever. See, plants decided on a very different lifestyle, staying put and soaking up the sun. And to do that, they needed some special upgrades, some exclusive bits of tech. Just look at the plant cell again. You can see it, can't you? It's not just a squishy blob like an animal cell. It's got structure, a proper shape. And that's all down to 3 game-changing additions, each one perfectly designed for life as a plant. Let's start with the first big one, the most obvious upgrade. It's what gives plants their strength. We're talking about the cell wall. So, outside the normal cell membrane, plants have this extra layer. It's a super tough wall made of cellulose. It's basically a suit of armor for the cell. It gives it that rigid shape we were talking about and provides all that support. Plus, and this is clever, it stops the cell from literally exploding if it takes on too much water.
All right, upgrade number 2. This thing is massive. It often takes up most of the space inside a plant cell. It's the large central vacuole.
What is it? Well, it's basically a giant water balloon right in the middle of the cell. It stores water, yeah, but also salts and sugars. But its real magic trick is this. When it's full of water, it pushes outwards against that strong cell wall. That pressure is what makes the cell firm, or turgid. And when millions of cells are doing that together, that's what stops a plant from drooping and wilting. And that brings us to the third and final upgrade. And honestly, this is the one everyone knows. It's the one that gives plants their green color, and more importantly, their superpower, the ability to make their own food. Of course, I'm talking about chloroplasts. These little green discs are just incredible. They are literally the cell's own solar panels. They're packed with a pigment called chlorophyll, which is amazing at soaking up sunlight. They then use that sun power to whip up food from just carbon dioxide and water. That whole process, photosynthesis, is pretty much what powers all life on our planet. No big deal, right? So you see, none of these upgrades are accidents. They're all about strategy. Animals move around, so they need soft, flexible cells. It makes sense. But plants, they're stuck in one spot. So they need rigidity for support and a way to make food on site. It's a perfect example of form following function.
The design fits the lifestyle.
But that gets you thinking, doesn't it? If plants are green because of chloroplasts, and they make food with them, does that mean every single cell in a plant has them? What do you think?
The answer, surprisingly, is no. And this just shows how incredibly efficient life is. Why would a plant waste energy making solar panels in a place that never sees the sun? Chloroplasts are only found where they can actually do their job, in the leaves and stems. A root cell buried deep in the dark soil, not a single chloroplast. It would be completely pointless.
Okay, let's wrap this up. We're going to put it all together in one simple comparison just to make sure the key differences are absolutely crystal clear.
Here we go. This table lays it all out perfectly. Look, up top, you've got the shared stuff: cell membrane, nucleus, cytoplasm, mitochondria. Tick, tick, tick for both. But then, bam, you hit that dividing line. The cell wall? Nope, not in an animal cell. That huge vacuole? Animal cells don't have it. And the chloroplasts? Purely a plant thing. That's the difference right there.
So really, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. Plants took the basic cell toolkit and added 3 killer apps: a rigid wall, a massive water tank, and solar panels. And those 3 things, that's what makes a plant a plant.
And isn't that just amazing? From just 2 fundamental designs, you get everything from a blue whale to a redwood tree, the entire visible living world. It just shows how a few key evolutionary decisions can change everything. It does make you wonder, though, was this the only way? What could a third path have looked like? What other incredible cellular machines might have been possible?